the Opubco Studios in Oklahoma City, this is an OSU update. I'm Jenni Carlson. Oklahoma State finishes out the regular season this weekend. They head to Kansas State. John Helsley joins us on the phone. John, when these two teams met earlier this year, it ended up being an interesting game, but there were some really dry stretches for the Cowboys. How do they avoid that this time around against the Wildcats?
Well, they're going to have to play much better offensively than they did against Kansas on the big Monday game. And that was still at a time when the offense really lacked a lot of direction. They kind of had put together a pretty good history of having these long dry spells in games. They've come a pretty good distance since that first meeting. With Markel Brown playing a little bit of the point. I think these guys have kind of gelled a little bit together now that they've gotten more playing time together. So I think there's a chance there that this offense is beyond that. Now, they could use maybe a magical return of LeBron Nash, something like that.
Definitely wouldn't hurt him at all. What about this matchup, though, John? I mean, Kansas State to me has been one of the hardest teams to peg. Are they, a potentially good team, not so good? How does this matchup suit the Cowboys on Saturday?
It's a tough matchup for the Cowboys because of one thing, and that's the Wildcats play so physical. They don't shoot it particularly well. They'll defend you pretty good, but they'll play so physical. OSU's not necessarily a physical style of team. They've got Phil Jurek inside who can kind of hold his own, but Cobbins is more of a finesse forward. The last time they played, offensive rebounds for K-State was a huge factor, as it has been in several games for OSU. They're going to have to keep the Wildcats off the boards. They're going to have to be, smooth on offense, and they're going to have to get some guys involved.
While we're talking about this weekend, John, let's very quickly, though, look ahead to next week. It's the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City. Winning, losing on Saturday. What does that do for Oklahoma State heading into that Big 12 tournament?
Yeah, they're going to be the number 7 seed in the tournament. They'll play Texas Tech, which will be a very favorable matchup for them. They've beaten the Red Raiders twice, home and away. That's going to be a good matchup for them. Beyond that, hard to project. If next round you're going to play a Kansas or a Missouri. If you do end up holding on to that 7th seed. So, looking ahead, should win a game in the Big 12 tournament. And then the judgment will be, how was that for the Cowboys? How do they finish this season? Did they finish strong? Did they play whoever that is they play in round 2? Did they play them tough and put a little bit of a statement on the end of the season?
All right. Thanks, John. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoma.